back at it with another YouTube video. It's your boy Uriah G, and today we're gonna react to who will dethrone every current WWE champion after WrestleMania 40. I repeat, we're gonna react to who will dethrone every current WWE champion after WrestleMania 40. I just previously reacted to this Cardi video, but I had scrapped it because it wasn't really interesting. So yeah, we're gonna get right into this video.
When Triple H welcomed us into a new era of the WWE, he wasn't kidding, because over the last 3 days alone, we have had a total of 8 championship changes across WWE's main roster and NXT. So today feels as good a day as any to try and figure out who is going to dethrone every single current champion in the WWE. And we are going to be looking at all of the champions on the main roster, as well as all the current champions on NXT. If you happen to be new around here, because 15,000 of you subscribed over the last 3 days during WrestleMania, first of all, hi, hello, but just know that this is a monthly video series, so don't be surprised if you see this same type of video next month. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're it. Let's start off with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships that are currently being held by members of Damage Control, the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. In the last video, they were also the Tag Team Champions. However, I had predicted that they were going to lose the tag titles at WrestleMania to Bianca Belair and Naomi. Now, I made that prediction before Jade Cargill got involved and before this was made into a 6-woman tag match. That being said, I still think that the Kabuki Warriors are ultimately going to lose these tag titles to a combination of these.
If Asuka is the champion, how is she the tag team champion? What in the world?
It's 3. It's most likely Bianca and Naomi if I were to have my way and just continue to have Jade Cargill as this ever-looming singles presence. But I think it's going to be a combination of these 3 in some capacity, because I do believe that this feud between the big 3, as they're calling themselves, and the Kabuki Warriors and Damage Control will continue well beyond WrestleMania. Don't be surprised if we have new tag champions as early as maybe this upcoming episode of SmackDown.
And Jade Cargill, she's some new talent on the roster, and I feel like they might push her and make her a dominant force. I feel like she'll be a heel or something, and then be a face later on down in her career. But giving her the tag team championships, that doesn't sound bad, I guess.
SmackDown after WrestleMania or Backlash. In the last video, the tag team championships were completely different than what we have right now, because they were unified. They were the unified, undisputed WWE tag team championships that were being held at the time by Damian Priest and Finn Balor before WrestleMania. Now, in the last video, I had predicted that these two would lose the tag team championships to Awesome Truth. Now, I figured that this was going to be a WrestleMania match, it was going to be a singles match, and ultimately I was kind of right, because they ended.
Yeah, because I think they said it was gonna be like just a tag team match for the championships, Judgment Day versus Miz and R-Truth, before they even had the Fatal 4-Way tag match. What was it, Fatal 4-Way or something like that? Tag team match?
Ended up having a ladder match, and then Team Awesome Truth won half of the title. So I guess I can give myself half points here, but you have now Awesome Truth and the team of The Miz and R-Truth as your WWE Raw Tag Team Champions, which means that the titles are now split. So now in future videos, we're gonna have to do both the Raw and SmackDown tag titles. Now, in terms of who is going to dethrone Awesome Truth, honestly, it's probably too early to tell, but right off the bat, right after WrestleMania, they continue to have a feud in a program with Judgment Day, and I wouldn't be surprised if they ultimately drop the titles to 2 members of the Judgment Day
already. Like, yeah, it really could make sense for that to happen, because, you know, Damian Priest is the world heavyweight champion, so like maybe putting the gold on all members would be the right move.
Day, whether it's Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, or maybe it's going to be Dom and JD McDonough, I don't know, because they're still embroiled in this major feud, and this faction in Judgment Day still has 2 major heavy hitters in Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley with championships, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we reinvigorate the Judgment Day by making them the top heel faction in all of the WWE by giving them all of the gold again.
Yeah, which I was just talking about.
Frankly, there aren't really too many heel tag teams right now on Monday Night Raw that are directly involved in the tag team titles. Like, really, there's Imperium, but they're not even close to being involved right now with Awesome Truth. So I am going to go with the Judgment Day to win the Raw tag titles at some point. On the SmackDown side of things, we also have new champions in Team 8-Town Down Under and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. I got my WrestleMania predictions right on both of these teams, by the way. I had predicted that we were going to get this gold-draped faction.
My predictions was I think DIY was going to win one of the belts.
Between Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Logan Paul, because I did predict that Logan Paul was going to retain at WrestleMania, and here we are. That is exactly what we're getting. Now, I am recording this well before the most recent episode of SmackDown.
And I thought Randy Orton was going to win the United States Championship.
After WrestleMania, so I really don't know what route this division is about to take. However, if I'm looking at context, I do think that Logan Paul is still going to be involved with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens moving forward. So I could see a world where we get the proper team up of.
That's crazy because Grayson Waller literally just got into the company. He already tag team champion.
Team R. KO. Kevin Owens, get it? All right. Anyways, I do think that they're going to continue to be a force within the tag team division because they've been having so many matches already with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and as well as being a presence in the main event scene. I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of jumping between the two divisions. So this is super early. I'm going to throw this out into the universe, and we'll see next month. Next up, let's look at the NXT side of things and look at the NXT tag titles. Now,
yeah, I think Braun Breaker, didn't he say he was leaving the company, leaving NXT? I think he hugged Baron Corbin or something.
The last video, the champions were the Wolf Dogs, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, and I had predicted that they would lose the tag titles to the team of Axiom and Nathan Frazier. I predicted that these two would win at Stand and Deliver. I was wrong, but they ended up having another tag match on the most recent episode of NXT, and they did win the NXT Tag Team Championship, so I don't care. I'm taking full points. It's still also probably too early to even try and book this tag team division, but right when they won the tag titles, they were immediately attacked by Karrion Kross and the Final Testament, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put the tag titles on Paul Ellering's boys in a common Razar, the Authors of Pain.
The AOP.
Don't forget that the Authors of Pain were arguably one of the best tag teams on the planet when they were NXT champions, tag champions, I should say.
They didn't do nothing with Authors of Pain when they were on the WWE roster, when they were on Raw.
So I could see a world where maybe Shawn Michaels and Triple H wants to revisit this. Obafemi is still your North American champion, and he was the North American champion last video, and I foresee him being the North American champion for a really long time.
I don't even watch NXT.
Because he looks incredibly unstoppable. In the last video, I had predicted that maybe there was an off chance that somehow Josh Briggs would pin Dijak at NXT Stand and Deliver and walk away as the North American champion without actually pinning Obafemi. But that didn't come to fruition. It was an amazing triple threat match, one of the best matches that I've seen in a very, very long time. But now we're once again in that world of who the hell can even come close to Obafemi. Frankly, I still think he's going to be holding this well into the summer and into the fall, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of NXT's year-long championship reigns because of just how incredibly dominant he has been and how the outlook of the future of that championship looks. So for now, I'm really just going to throw a feeler out there, and I'll say maybe Ivar because he's kind of changed his look. He's no longer the Viking Ivar. He's like, I don't know, American dad.
Wow, that's Ivar from the Viking Raiders?
Going through midlife crisis Ivar. That he was wearing the skinny jeans and the leather vest, but this is the closest thing. So I'll go with Ivar, but that's not even really me believing it. Let's go over to Friday Night SmackDown where we have Logan Paul as the current United States champion. Now, in the last video, I had predicted that he would retain his United States Championship at WrestleMania and that he would go on to all the way through to SummerSlam.
Who's he gonna drop it to? I wonder.
In his home state of Ohio as the WWE United States Champion. In the last video, I had predicted Randy Orton would ultimately be the one to dethrone him, but I didn't say that he would dethrone him at WrestleMania. I said that Randy Orton would dethrone him at SummerSlam because I do think that these two are still bound for a major singles feud, and I don't think that there's a better show to do this in Logan Paul's home state in front of a ruckus SummerSlam crowd. So I am going to pick Randy Orton still. I'm going to stick by that choice, and I'm going to stick with my SummerSlam title. timeline. Next up, we have Gunther, the ring general, who was, I can't believe I'm saying that, was your Intercontinental Champion and was the
for like 600 plus days.
Longest reigning, most dominant Intercontinental Champion in the history of the WWE. No ifs, ands, or buts. No other championship will probably ever come close when it comes to the Intercontinental Championship. He was the champion in the last video, and in the last video, I had predicted that maybe in some crazy world, they rebuild Chad Gable to the point where he makes us care and fall in love with him again and make us truly believe that he could finish his amazing story that WWE told for him at WrestleMania. And then they yanked that from under us. Instead of giving us Gable versus Gunther at WrestleMania, they gave us Sami Zayn versus Gunther at WrestleMania in a match that a lot of us were really cold on going into the match. But
I mean, I'd rather have Chad Gable, who had won the IC belt. I don't know why, but that's how I feel about it.
Then came out of the match thinking that was one of the best matches of the entire year, match of the year contender, and ultimately happy for Sami Zayn because they did such a great job of playing with our emotions during Sami Zayn's entrance and in the actual match itself. But yeah, it was Sami Zayn that made the history. Back-to-back years of WrestleMania where he dethrones undethronable champions. Last year's with the Usos and this year with Gunther. So he really is just the dynasty destroyer. So your current Intercontinental Champion is Sami Zayn. So who do I think that Sami Zayn is ultimately going to lose this title to? I do think that it might be too early to tell, but I also don't think that Sami Zayn needs to hold this championship for that long. I think that he could lose it as early as next episode of Monday Night Raw in his hometown, Montreal, to Chad Gable.
Lose that fast? I don't know.
They have a scheduled Intercontinental Championship match, and I think that there is no better place for Chad Gable to finally turn heel, win the Intercontinental Championship through some sort of underhanded kind of way that Sami Zayn would never expect Chad Gable to do, and to do it in front of a crowd that would boo him out of the building would give him such nuclear heel heat as he would become your new Intercontinental Champion. I like this idea, and I'm gonna go with it, and we'll revisit this next month to see how off I was. Fellas, it's no secret that quitting a bad habit, in fact, different way. Why flavor musically habit adjustable area and
Sorry, guys,
is some
promoting something.
few minutes over to again. Let's look at the women's side of things over on NXT, where Lyra Valkyria was the NXT Women's Champion in the last video. Now, she had a scheduled match at NXT Stand and Deliver with a newly turned heel Roxanne Perez, who I did predict in the last video would become your new NXT Women's Champion. And la-di-da, look at that, Santi was right, as Roxanne Perez is your new NXT Women's Champion. And I do think that she's going to be holding this thing for quite a while until June.
Like I said, guys, I don't watch NXT.
Julia, who was recently just announced to have signed with WWE and will be appearing on NXT at some point in the near future. I think that she's going to be the one to take that title away from Roxanne Perez, opening up a main roster call-up for Roxanne Perez during the draft so that Julia can be the dominant beast that she was in Japan, this time in NXT as a dominant NXT Women's Champion. Over on SmackDown in the last video, we had Io Sky as your WWE Women's Champion, and this was
Don't get me wrong, guys. I used to watch NXT back then.
Another one of the championship belts that changed hands on WrestleMania weekend. In the last video, I said that Bayley would finally conquer Io Sky, that Bayley would get her WrestleMania moment, and god damn it, I'm happy to say that she did, because Bayley is your new WWE Women's Champion in one of the best matches of the entire weekend, in a match that I think is going to go down in history as a sneaky classic that people, as time passes by, are going to recollect as a true WrestleMania classic. Again, I'm recording this well before SmackDown, so I don't know what direction Bayley is going to go in. I don't know if there's going to be a rematch with Io Sky. I don't know if her feud with Damage Control is going to continue, but if it does continue, if she does get a rematch with Io Sky, I think that Bayley would retain through those feuds. Now, another thing that WWE has been talking up a lot about is this new era of wrestlers, this new era of booking, this new era of the WWE. And I believe that eventually, in a few months, maybe past Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, sometime in the fall, that WWE is going to continue to make good on the new era by...
I wonder who they're going to make Money in the Bank.
crowning new champions, younger champions, to help carry and usher in this new era of the WWE. So I'm not sure when it's gonna be, but at some point, when you look at your watch, it's gonna say Tiffy time. I think it's gonna be Tiffany Stratton at some point or another. I think she's a great representation of this new era of the WWE. She is so completely polar opposites from Bayley in terms of character, and she's such a great in-ring worker as well. I think she would make a great SmackDown WWE Women's Champion. I'd love it if it was maybe through a Money in the Bank briefcase. That'd be pretty cool as well. I'm not sure when it's gonna happen, but this is my prediction. Rhea Ripley retained the WWE Women's World Championship at WrestleMania like I thought that she would. It did not look in any...
I predicted that Ripley was going to retain, so yeah.
Capacity that she was ever in danger to lose to Becky Lynch in the actual build-up to WrestleMania. I'm happy to say that the match was really good, and there were moments of suspense where I thought that maybe Rhea Ripley would lose, but ultimately she did retain and will continue to probably be a dominant force in the women's division, continuing to be the women's world champion.
And isn't she selling a lot of merchandise right now? Like, cause you know, the gimmick or whatever.
Champion probably for a long time. In the last video, a lot of you clowned me because in the last video I said Charlotte Flair. And hang on just a second, because I know a bunch of you are gonna say, how are you not gonna pick Liv Morgan this time around? Look, I'm glad that Liv Morgan is gonna get this feud with Rhea Ripley. I think that, frankly, Liv Morgan is a worthy adversary to dethrone Rhea Ripley if the WWE saw it that way. But when I'm looking at the future, when I'm looking at what WWE might be planning, we have this feud between Dominic Mysterio and Andrade that is clearly going to boil up to the point where we finally have Charlotte return to maybe help out evening the odds if in a world where Rhea Ripley and Dominic start attacking Andrade. So I do foresee that we're going to get Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair probably as one of the headlining matches at SummerSlam. And one of the things that I've come to learn is that there are 3 things that are guaranteed in this world: death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair winning a WWE Women's Championship.
Yeah, who knows? She might beat Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. Charlotte. Who knows?
Whenever she comes back after a hiatus. I want it to be Liv Morgan. Like that chair spot with Liv Morgan where she chucked the chair at Rhea Ripley. I think she has great motivation, but I mean, the WWE loves to give championships to Charlotte Flair. You know that's right. I don't love this, but I'm going with it again. In the last video, the NXT champion was Ilya Dragunov, and he did retain the NXT championship at NXT Stand and Deliver. I did think that there was a possibility that he would lose the championship because I had a feeling that he was going to be main roster ready and be called up as early as the draft. And that does seem to be leading that way, with NXT already allowing Ilya Dragunov to appear on the Raw after WrestleMania to showcase himself before the draft. So I do think that Ilya Dragunov is bound for Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown in as early as probably 3 weeks. Now, I did predict because of that he would drop the championship to Tony D'Angelo so that Tony D'Angelo and the family can continue to carry the legacy of the NXT.
God, I don't even know what this is because I don't watch NXT.
Championship, and Ilya Dragunov gets called up. That didn't end up being the case, as Ilya Dragunov ended up retaining. However, I still think that this is the case. I still think that Ilya Dragunov is going to go up to the main roster, but it's now going to be dropped to Trick Williams on the way up to the main roster. And they already have a championship match set up in 2 weeks for NXT Spring Breakin', which is 1 week before the draft. The timelines are perfect. Ilya can lose and literally next week be on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, and the top babyface right now, the most popular guy arguably in all of wrestling, Trick Williams, can be your NXT champion. I think it's too perfect, and like, don't overcomplicate this. Get ready for a roller coaster of emotions, because now we're going to talk about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. In the last video, the World Heavyweight Champion was Seth Rollins, and going into WrestleMania, he already had his match scheduled with Drew McIntyre. And I had predicted that, yes, Drew McIntyre would become your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and I'm happy to say that I am right. Even though this is a famous photo before Doom, I still get the points because I did say that it was going to be Drew McIntyre, and I don't care if it was 5 minutes, it still freaking counts. Unfortunately, after those 5 minutes passed, he got way too over-obsessed with CM Punk. CM Punk attacked him, which allowed Damian Priest to finally cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and now our current World Heavyweight Champion is Damian Priest in the snap of a finger. This is why the Money in the Bank briefcase is...
Actually, I don't mind the decision they made with Damian, like, cashing in and winning. I don't really mind that decision.
Such a beautiful thing. Now, who is going to dethrone Damian Priest? Hell if I know. Honestly, it's still brand new. His feud really going on right now is R-Truth and The Miz, and that's just not going to be it. He has a match scheduled, what I'm assuming is going to be for Backlash for the World Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso. I don't see that happening either. I think it is still going to be back to Drew McIntyre at some point, maybe for Clash at the Castle, maybe closer to SummerSlam. But I do think that when we are ready to get Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, it is going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I think it's going to go back to Drew so that Drew can have a match with CM Punk, maybe at SummerSlam for the world title. And I can't believe I'm finally getting to say this, but in the last video, Roman Reigns was your WWE Undisputed Universal Champion.
And CM Punk does, like, okay, I get what they were trying to finish the story with Cody or whatever, but I remember they said CM Punk was supposed to win the Royal Rumble. And he got injured, so, you know, he gave it to Cody. So CM Punk gotta get another championship ring. I want to see it because CM Punk's like my favorite.
And he was the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion in the video before that, and in the video before that, and in every video that we've made around this topic, because this was an inevitability. Roman Reigns was always your WWE Universal Champion. That was just one of the laws of humanity. However, going into WrestleMania, I predicted that it was finally time to pull the trigger and allow Cody Rhodes to be the one to dethrone the Tribal Chief. And yes, this is another prediction that I ended up getting correct, and I'm so happy that I did, because I'm happy.
It's still crazy to me that he really won.
That the WWE Universal Championship is a full-time prop in the WWE TV again. I'm glad that Cody's most likely going to be a fighting champion, and that the championship belt isn't going to be hidden for 4 to 5 months at a time. However, this is a lot of burden for Cody Rhodes to bear, and I just don't see just a regular WWE superstar that's there every week being the one to dethrone Cody Rhodes. I still think that there's still so much story to tell between Cody Rhodes and the Bloodline, but more than anything, between Cody Rhodes and the maniacal, egotistical final boss, The Rock, who clearly demonstrated that he's not done with Cody Rhodes, that they are clearly going to have a matchup at some point or another in the coming future, and he even exerted his strength, his political power by being awkward, yes, and getting Cody Rhodes to hand him the championship. And I'm not gonna lie, I think The Rock liked the way that he looked with it, and I think The Rock is gonna do everything in his power to, when he comes back, put himself in a championship picture. Maybe it's for WrestleMania next year. Maybe The Rock returns and wins the Royal Rumble. Maybe it's SummerSlam. We don't know.
Oh, please don't. No. If he wins the Royal Rumble, nah, bro, nah.
Oh, but Cody Rhodes is going to be holding for a while, because I think that he carries this championship all the way through till he finally gets to meet with the final boss once again, and it's clear that The Rock is going to be gone for a while. So get ready for a lengthy Cody Rhodes championship reign. All right, folks, those are my predictions.
All right. This was who will dethrone every current WWE champion after WrestleMania 40. I got more videos, more reaction videos. Tell me what y'all want me to react to next in the comments down below. Subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, you're out.